Hi there guys, my name is Aaron and you can learn, make and create together with me in Adobe Photoshop. Today I'm going to show you how you can edit a portrait step by step using some actions. So without any further ado, let's get started. So here we are in Adobe Photoshop, and as you can see, this portrait is looking great. It's made by Victor Baz. A huge thanks to him for providing us the raw file. So today I'm going to show you how you can edit this amazing portrait with our Retouching Kit 2024. So if you want to follow my step-by-step process, you should check all the links down in the description, because you'll find the raw file and the retouching actions. So here we have our Retouching Kit, which is installed. If you don't have it installed, you can go to after you have downloaded the Retouching Kit 2024, you should go to Window, click here on Actions, and here we have our actions. You just click here and you click here on the Load Actions, and you will find the location that you have downloaded the Retouching Kit 2024. So first thing first, what we are going to do into this portrait, we need to click on the first step, which says All-in-One, and click Play. Wait until it's done. And here we have a bunch of layers. So one of them is clean layer that says clean here, dodge and burn, the lipstick color, eyeshadows that says pick a color, whiter and brighter eyes and teeth, sharpness, and our black and white help layer. So first thing first, what we're going to do in this portrait is that we click here on the cleaning layer, and we click here on the spot healing brush tool, and make sure that sample all layers is checked. And we want to zoom in where we want to start cleaning this portrait, for example in the forehead, and we just increase the brush just like this, and we start cleaning this amazing portrait. And you can turn on and off the black and white help layer, because you will see some details better when you turn it on. And you gotta clean this portrait as good as possible, because once that we are done with the first step, it's time for the second step. And in the second step, we are going to work into this portrait with the frequency separation. So for example, when you clean a portrait like a professional, you take your time and clean the portrait, and when you are done with the cleaning, as you can see, it's time for the dodge and burn. So when you clean and dodge and burn correctly, sometimes the frequency separation, we leave it as it is, but sometimes we make some changes here and there. So as I said in the beginning, if you want to follow my step-by-step process for this video tutorial, please don't forget to check all the links, because you can get all these raw files that I am using and that I have used previously in my video tutorial. So I put all the raw files in my Telegram channel. There are a bunch of them, and if you want to get them, just go click on the Telegram channel and you will have access to all of the free raw files that I've put there. So I'm just gonna clean this portrait, and see you guys in a few seconds. So here we are, as you can see, a before and after what we've done so far into the cleaning section, and I think that is looking great. And now that we are done with cleaning, it's time for the dodge and burn. So just click here on the dodge and burn and turn on the black and white help layer, click on the dodge. And as you can see, we have a layer mask, which is not showing anything because it's all black. So we have to switch the color to the white, and here we have our general brushes. So I'm going to work with a soft round brush, which is a default brush from the Photoshop, and I'm going to work with 10% of the opacity and 100 or 80, depends on the hardness of the brush, as you can see. And I'm just going to dodge the parts that I want, for example, as you can see, a before and after what I've just did. And if you want to dodge a burn like a professional, there is another way. So we're gonna go to Window, Arrange, and click here that says New Window for the name of the file. And let me just close the actions. Click again to the Window, Arrange, and choose 2 up vertical. So here we have one window in 2 windows. And for example, in the left one, I'm gonna leave it in the zoom out, because for example, when you're dodge and burning into a portrait, you have to zoom in and zoom out every time. So to save some time, we just created 2 windows. As I said, the left one should be with the zoom out, and the right window will be the zoom in. So let me show you how. So everything that we do in the right window will show up in the left one. So to dodge and burn, we keep an eye in the left window, as you can see, and work on the right one, just like this. So here's the before and after only of the dodge. Let me just turn off the black and white help layer. And as you can see, it's looking better. So now that you're done with the dodge, it's time for the burn. So same thing goes for the burn too. I'm gonna zoom in where I want to start burning the highlights. So as I said before, keep an eye on the left window and just work on the right window. So here's the before and after only of the burn. Let me just turn off the black and white help layer. And now I think that we are done with the dodge and burn. So here's the before and after of everything else that we've done here. And I think that is looking great. Now that we are done with dodge and burn, we can just close the group. And the next step, what we're going to do into this portrait, for example, is that lipstick color. And if you want to change the lipstick color, you can just zoom in and just paint with a white brush with 100% of opacity, 100% flow. Or you can, for example, with the pen tool, we can create a selection around the lips, which is the faster way for this thing. So I'm just gonna create a selection around the lips and just switch from black layer mask into something with a white color. Let me just create it. One, zoom out and right click and click here on the make selection. So for the feather radius, I think that I'm gonna go by 2 pixels. Click OK with Control keyboard and delete. Just make sure that the white color is under that black, and just click Control and delete key. So here we have our red lips, as you can see before and after. And if you want to change the lipstick color, for example, you can double click here and just move to the color that you want for your preferences. But for example, I'm gonna leave it red as it is. For example, you're gonna go to a darker black, lighter black, depends on your preferences, as I said. But I think that I'm just gonna go just a little darker, just like this. Click OK, and I'm gonna leave it as it is. Now, when we zoom in, as you can see, we have some sharp lines, as you can see before and after. So to smooth this, you can just double click here on the layer mask or the group, just double click, and here we have the properties. So we are going to increase the feather just like this, slide this into the right, and you can see before and after what's going on. For example, if you slide this too much, it will be blown away. So keep it, for example, 8 pixels, and I think that is looking okay. You can zoom out and check it before and after. If you want to leave it as it is, it's okay, but I think that I'm going to decrease the opacity of the entire group. I think that 80% will be enough. Now check it before and after. And for example, if you want to bring back the highlights, you can just double click here, which is already done. But for example, if you want to bring back the highlights more than I did, you can just click Alt keyboard and click it here to divide this one and slide this into the left. And as you can see, the highlights are coming back, sorry, just like this. Now zoom out, check it before and after, and I think it's looking great. Now that we're done with the lipstick color, here we have the eyeshadows that says pick a color. For example, if you want to change the makeup around the eyes, you can just copy a color, or depends on the color of the makeup you want to put. For example, I'm gonna go with this kind of red that is into the lips with white brush and just paint it around the eyes, but with 100% of the opacity. As you can see, it's kind of too much, so I think that I'm gonna go by 20%, just like this. Paint it in both sides, sorry, just like this. Now check it before and after, and I think that is looking great. So I'm going to reduce it just a little because 100% is kind of too much, and I think that is looking okay. Here we have the whiter and brighter eyes and teeth that works fine for both of them. So you can zoom in and just paint over there. Zoom out and check it before and after, and I think that is looking okay, but 100% is kind of too much, so I think that I'm gonna go by 45 now. And as you can see, it's affecting the shadows like too much, so I'm gonna double click here and I'm gonna divide the underlying layer of the darks just like this. As you can see, when we remove it, just like this, slide this into the left. What's going on, I don't know, but I think that we have to do this in the underlying layer or in the curves. For example, just double click here and divide the dark just like this. Yeah, it's okay. Now here we have our before and after, and I think that is looking okay. Now that we are done with whiter and brighter eyes and teeth, we have the sharpness, which is in the black layer mask that is not showing anything. So just switch the black layer mask into white. So click Control and I, and here we have our sharpness. You can zoom in and check it before and after, which is looking great. But for my opinion, I'm gonna go by 25% for this one because 100 is kind of too much. So here's a before and after of everything that we've done so far. And here we have our problem here, which is on the side of the lips. And I think that I'm going to reduce it just a little with a black brush, 100% of opacity. I'm just gonna paint it out just a little on this part because it's looking kind of too much. So just bring it back just a little. Now check it before and after, and I think that is looking okay. Now that we are done with the first step of the actions, I'm just gonna click Control. I'm gonna hold Shift keyboard and click it on the background. Right click, and I'm gonna click here that says Merge Layers. And here we have our layers into a single one. I'm gonna delete that black and white tile player because we don't need that right now. And now it's time for the second step. So just click play, wait until it's done. And here we have our frequency separation. Here we have the low or the color and high as the texture. I'm going to turn off the high right now because I'm going to work in the color. So I'm going to click here on the mixer brush. So the settings I'm going to use for this time are 10% of the wet, load by 45, mix by 45, and flow by 33. I'm going to zoom in where I want to start mixing the skin tones. And for example, I'm going to start here on the forehead, and I'm going to continue here on the fingers because they're looking kind of not too good for my opinion because we have some shadows. And be careful, for example, in the portraits with freckles, like the model that we are retouching right now. So we don't want to destroy the freckles. Once we do that, the portrait will look terrible, and we don't want that. So I'm gonna work just a little on the sides. Now zoom out and check it before and after what we've done so far only in the low. And once that you are done with the low, you can click here on the high. And you want to zoom in, for example, where you want to keep cleaning just a little more. So in the high, we got to work with the clone stamp tool. So you want to zoom in, and you have to click Alt keyboard, hold it. Just hold the Alt keyboard and click to copy. Release the Alt keyboard and just paint to paste. So you got to copy paste as near as possible because the texture of the our face changes depends on the part that we are working. For example, if you copy the texture here and you paste it here, as you can see, it leaves some bad marks, and we don't want that. So you gotta work as near as possible. But for my opinion, I think that this portrait is looking great, and we don't need that much work for this process or this part because we did that on the cleaning, and I think that is looking great. So one more thing that I'm going to do into this portrait, that I'm going to add some eyelashes to this portrait and some freckles. So I'm just gonna create two empty layers here, and with a black brush, I'm just gonna click here where I have my freckles that are made by Retouching, and I have some eyelashes kit from the Victor Baz, from the creator of this amazing portrait. You can click the link in the description and you will find the eyelashes, the freckles, and everything else. So I'm just gonna make this bigger, and on that I made this, but I'm gonna go with 100% low and 100% of opacity. Just click there, and I'm going to transform this into the form that fits this portrait. Just click here on the warp and play it around just a little, and I think that is okay. Here we have our bottom lashes that are not looking that good, so I'm just gonna click here on the layer mask, and I'm gonna paint them out with our brush, just like this. I'm gonna zoom out and check it before and after, and I think that they are looking good, but I'm going to transform just a little because I think that they're kind of too big, like this. Now check it before and after, and I think they're looking good, but as you can see, the eyelashes here are kind of looking too fake, so I'm just gonna paint them out just a little like this. Now check it before and after, and I think they're looking good. So I'm just gonna make another copy of this one and flip to horizontal for the other one, for example, if we need that. But as you can see that into this portrait, the left one is looking great. So I think that we don't need that too much eyelashes for this portrait. So I'm just gonna paint them out just a little. And as you can see, with 100% is kind of looking too much. So I think that I'm gonna keep it by 64 maybe, or maybe even lower. Now check it before and after of this entire process, and I think that is looking great. So one more thing that I'm going to do into this portrait, I'm gonna zoom in here, and with burn tool, I'm just gonna burn this part because they're looking kind of too fake. Because for example, since we added some eyelashes there, we need to create some shadows here, like this, and I think that they're looking better, as you can see. And if you want to add bottom eyelashes, you can create another empty layer and find the lashes that you have, eyelashes that you have downloaded from the Victor Baz, if you did it, and just paint the bottom one. And I think this one worked fine, so I'm just gonna flip it horizontal, make it bigger, and just place it here. Work with the warp. This. Click OK. Now check it before and after. And if you think that they're kind of too much, you can always lower the opacity or paint them out. But I think that they're looking good. I'm gonna zoom in just a little and place it here. And I think that they're looking okay. Now check it before and after, which is kind of too much. So I'm going to lower the opacity of the bottom lashes. Now on the other empty layer, I'm just gonna go to find the freckles that I have downloaded from Retouching. Link is in the description for that one too. So I'm just gonna find the freckles that I want. You can rotate that with the arrows. So I think this one is looking okay. Now just paint it there. And for the other one, just move with the arrows, paint it, and here we have, which is looking horrible. So we need to switch the blending mode from normal to soft light, and it's starting to look better. I'm gonna zoom in. Here we have our freckles, And one more thing that I'm going to add into this one, go to the filter, blur, and add some Gaussian blur. For example, 3 pixels of the radius is okay. Now zoom out, sorry, and check before and after again. If you think that you need to lower the opacity, you just do that. For example, this one is okay. So I'm just gonna double click here. I'm gonna find the blending options, and I'm gonna move the underlying layer of the white just like this, slide this into the left, and here you can see the freckles that are disappearing into the highlights, which is looking more realistic. And here we have our freckles on the hair, and we have to paint them out. So just create a layer mask here with a brush, just paint them out just like this with 100% flow and 100% of the opacity. Just paint where you want to paint them out, for example in the nose, in this part, because they're kind of too much. Just like this. Now check it before and after, and if you think they're looking again too much, you can always lower the opacity of this one, but I think that for my preferences they are okay. And just paint them out just a little under the eyes. So here we have our entire process, which is looking really great. And one more thing that I'm going to do into this amazing portrait is that I'm going to paint the nails with a red color. So I'm just gonna zoom in here, and with a quick selection tool, I'm just gonna make a selection around the nails just like this. And here we have our selections of the nails. But if you want to do this like a professional, I would highly recommend to click on the pen tool and just create some selections around the nails, which I'm gonna do right now. Right click and click on the make selection. I would choose the 2 pixels for the fader radius. I'm gonna click here and click on the solid color, and I'm going to pick this red color from the lips, and I'm gonna keep working on the other nails. So I'm just gonna create other selections. Right click again, click make selection, click here on the layer mask, and with Control and Delete just paint it there. So do the same process for other nails. So here we have our nails that are painted into the red. And as you can see, the blending mode that is normal is not looking good. So we have to switch from normal to multiply. And again, it's not looking that good. So we have to double click here. And with the underlying layer, we have to divide this and bring back the highlights, which is looking more realistic. We want to zoom in. And if you think that lines are kind of too sharp, you can just double click here and increase the feather, which I'm going to do right now. I'm going to zoom out. And here we have our before and after nails that are painted into the red color. And I think that they're looking good. So I'm going to leave them as they are. And I'm going to merge the frequency separation with the background. Right click and just click here on the merge layers. So I'm going to create another background layer. So I'm going to drag and drop this to the plus to make another copy. I'm going to zoom in, click Control, and just click here on the layer mask. And here we have our selection. So I'm going to work just a little more on the nails so they will look better. So I'm going to click here on the mixer brush with 100% flow and 100% of the wet. I'm just going to move the color just like this so they will look better. So here we have the nails. This is the fastest way to work on them. You can do it with the clone stamp tool, but this one is better and faster. So turn on again the color fill, as you can see a before and after. For example, you can make the you can play with the opacity until you see them they're looking good. You can just double click here and you can change the color of them, but I think that I'm going to stick with this red, maybe a darker red or a lighter one. But I think that this one is okay. I'm going to zoom in to check again a before and after because you are going to merge them. And I think that the feather radius is kind of too much, so I'm gonna decrease it just a little and zoom out. Check a before and after of this entire process, which is looking really good. Now I'm gonna merge them again into the right click and merge layers. And now that we are done with the second step and some other stuff, it's time for the third step, which is elegance look. So we have to click play and wait until it's done. The elegance look is with a black layer mask, which is not showing anything. So we are going to switch it into the white. So click Control and I, and here we have our elegance look, which is looking really good, but we need to work just a little more. So I'm gonna double click here and I'm gonna divide the underlying layer of the dark or the black, just like this. Slide this into the right, and here we have that the effect of the elegance look is disappearing from the darker parts, and I think that is looking okay. I'm just going to lower the opacity just a little because 80% is looking better, and I think that I'm gonna go by 75. Now here we have a before and after of everything that we've done so far. I'm gonna merge the elegance look with a background. Click merge layers, and now I'm gonna add some color grade light skin actions to this amazing portrait. I'm gonna play them one by one until I find my best color grading, and I'm going to leave it with that one. And I think that I'm going to stick with A11, which is looking really good. So I'm going to decrease the opacity by 40%. I'm gonna click here on the selective color, click on the whites, and just play it around. As you can see, we still bring back some highlights into this portrait, which is looking absolutely amazing. So click again to the selective color, click on the yellows and play with the yellow tones just a little more to create this good looking effect. Click here again, click on the black and white, switch the blending mode from normal to luminosity, and just play around with the highlight, with the reds and the yellows. And I'm going to decrease the opacity by 20%. Now here we have our face contouring for color grade. Just click play, wait until it's done, and here we have our contours. You can just double click here and play around with the shadows, midtones and highlights. So I think that I'm going to play with the midtones just a little, and with the highlights. You can play with the shadows too, but I'm going to leave them as they are. So here we have our before and after. I'm going to decrease just a little, and here we have our before, and here is our after. You can zoom in. Here we have the texture, which is looking great. We have the eyelashes and everything else. So here's before and here's after. Here's before and here is an after. For example, you can still you can just make another copy of the background. Click Shift keyboard, click here and right click and click here that says merge layers. You can zoom in where you want to keep cleaning just a little more, for example, for this portrait. And I think that you are good to go. So here's our before and here's after. Here's before and here's our after. So that's it for this amazing video tutorial. Please don't forget to check all the links down in the description, because you'll find the raw file, the retouching actions, and everything else that I have been using in this one and the previous video tutorials. Leave some comments down below. Let me know if I'm understandable or not. Let me know if you did learn something from me or not. And see you guys in the next one. Peace.